It is said that this movie is based on true events. The election, held once every 4 years, has plunged the country into the greatest division since the Civil War. No matter who is elected, the rift between the people has grown so large that it's nearly impossible to repair. This battle finally ended with the male candidate's victory. Of course, this was just the beginning, as citizens anxiously waited for the results at home. When they learned that the female candidate had lost, cries of despair filled the air. Some were happy, others were not. The male candidate was officially elected. His supporters were ecstatic, and Kai was one of them. He gleefully smashed cheese balls and smeared them on his face, the signature color of his admiration for the male candidate. Kai then went to his sister Winter's room to boast about the male candidate's victory and invited her to join in the celebration. The next day, a couple was camping outdoors when a clown suddenly appeared behind them, striking a bizarre pose. The couple was terrified. The man quickly pulled out his gun and shot at the clown's groin, but after firing 2 shots, the clown remained completely unharmed. The clown then threw a punch, knocking the man to the ground. In the woman's horrified gaze, the clown pulled out a knife and killed the man with 1 stab. Terrified, the woman turned and ran, but in this area, the clown was the most dangerous being. The woman hid in her room, trembling, and the clown reappeared behind her. As the car shook, an organ fell to the ground. The clown removed his mask, revealing just 2 remaining teeth. And this story was from a comic book that a mischievous child was reading when Ally appeared. She saw the book in her son's hands and the image on the cover, immediately falling into deep fear. Ally had not only a fear of clowns but also severe trypophobia. Along with these conditions, Ally had developed emotional disorders and anxiety. She visited Dr. Rudy for help but was startled by the coral ornament filled with tiny holes on his desk. Rudy told her she had a severe mental illness and handed her a business card. Ally's condition was worsening, even to the point of hallucinations. She went grocery shopping alone, and because of the election, the supermarket was nearly empty. Seeing the kidneys in front of her and the vast empty space, Ally's anxiety resurfaced. She looked up at the mirror and saw nothing behind her, which was eerily strange. Ally believed she was hallucinating and continued shopping. After walking a few steps, 2 clowns appeared in front of her playing cards, and soon more clowns appeared, chasing her. Frightened, Ally quickly fled the supermarket, got into her car, and called her girlfriend. Before Ally could regain her composure, she saw another clown lurking behind the car. In the blink of an eye, Ally returned home, where her partner Ivy was waiting. Ally's condition had left Ivy feeling exhausted. The restaurant they had opened together was now solely being run by Ivy. After Ivy's encouragement, Ally decided to pull herself together. The next day, they interviewed a potential nanny, and that interviewee was Kai's sister, Winter. This seemingly gentle woman was far from as pure as she appeared on the surface. Under Kai's influence, her heart had grown equally dark. After passing the interview, Winter gave Ozymandias a lesson, not only introducing him to things you'd be curious about but also showing him videos I can't mention. In a flash, Kai appeared before a group of foreigners, pulled out a balloon filled with urine, and threw it at the workers. Inevitably, Kai was pinned to the ground and beaten by the group of workers. Later that night, 4 clowns slowly stepped out of a car, seemingly with a plan, and Ozymandias saw this from outside the window. After a long day of work, Ally and Ivy were driving home when they noticed the police had cordoned off the area. Ally sensed something was wrong and frantically ran home to find Ozymandias. At that crucial moment, Ozymandias slowly appeared from the distance. Seeing their child safe, they were overjoyed. Ozymandias said he had just witnessed a murder, but Winter claimed Ozymandias had a severe case of delusional disorder. It turns out, when Ozymandias first saw the clowns outside the window, he quickly called for Winter's help. But when Winter looked outside, she saw nothing. The 2 of them then went to the car Ozymandias mentioned and heard cries for help from next door. A woman seemed to be in distress. Ozymandias looked in that direction and saw a clown smiling kindly at him. Realizing something was wrong, Winter took Ozymandias to peek through the next window. However, Winter was too short, so she lifted Ozymandias to sneak a look, only to see several clowns killing the neighbors inside. The clown then looked in Ozymandias' direction, but Winter later told Ally and Ivy that she didn't see any clowns or murders as Ozymandias described, because clowns only exist in comic books, and there are no such creatures in reality. She then handed them a clown comic. They asked the police what had happened, but the officers, citing confidentiality, didn't provide any information. In the pitch-black room, Ally was about to drift into a sweet dream, but when she turned over, she found a clown lying right beside her. Ally was terrified and rushed to the kitchen to find Ivy. Upon learning that a clown was in Ally's room, Ivy grabbed a kitchen knife and prepared to go upstairs. However, when they got to the room and searched the entire bedroom and closet, there was no sign of the clown. Ally realized she might have had another hallucination, but the vividness of it made it all the more frightening. Ivy did her best to calm Ally down, trying to prevent her from panicking too much. But Ally wasn't the only one affected by the clowns. Even Ozymandias was suddenly awakened in the middle of the night after reading too many killer clown comics. He saw the door open, and when he turned on the light, a clown suddenly appeared before him. Ozymandias was so scared that he quickly hid under the bed, but there was more than one clown in the room. He seized the opportunity to escape, running to the bathroom and hiding in the shower. As the figure approached, Ozymandias finally screamed for help. At that moment, Ally and Ivy were being affectionate, but upon hearing Ozymandias' cries, they rushed to his side. It turned out everything that had happened was just a nightmare Ozymandias had. The next day, Ally looked out the window and saw a strange woman in the distance behaving oddly. Watching the spot where the woman disappeared, Ally secretly followed. Inside the room, there seemed to be hidden secrets. Before Ally could react, her spying was caught by the staff on site. Ally ran away in a panic. Meanwhile, Winter brought Ozymandias a clown doll, which looked exactly like the clowns he feared. Listening to Winter's story, Ozymandias recalled the scene of the neighbors' grisly deaths. That night, while doing his homework, Ozymandias received a gift from Winter. It was a clown. Seeing this, he remembered the horrifying scene of the massacre next door from a few days ago. Winter stuck out her pinky finger, and Ozymandias did the same. They made a pinky promise. Not long after, Ally and Ivy returned home, but Ozymandias was nowhere to be found. Winter told them that Ozymandias had gone next door to play. Hearing this, Ally sensed something was wrong, and the two rushed over. They found a mysterious woman and a man in a hazmat suit happily playing with Ozymandias. But then Ally noticed the man holding a honeycomb, and as a professional trypophobia sufferer, Ally felt extremely uncomfortable. It turned out that after the neighbors' deaths, a new couple had moved into the mansion. They were professional beekeepers, and the anxious Ally was highly suspicious of them. Although the two families engaged in polite conversation, Ally and Ivy quickly realized that their new neighbors were quite strange. The man introduced himself as Harrison, a gay man, and said he and Meadow were married by arrangement. Meadow allowed Harrison to go out once a week to sleep with other men. Ally and Ivy didn't want to get too involved with them, so they made an excuse and took Ozymandias back home. That night, Ozymandias, plagued by nightmares, desperately wanted to sleep with his mothers. But just then, a sudden alarm rang out. Ally rushed to the restaurant to check on the situation. After turning off the alarm, she suddenly heard a strange noise and followed it to the kitchen. In the dark kitchen, many animal carcasses were hanging. Ally felt something was off, and while inspecting the hanging bodies, she touched the body of a man. Realizing what she'd touched, Ally saw that the man wasn't fully dead and was coughing up blood. After a series of strange events, Ally's anxiety and phobias worsened. Ivy brought in Dr. Rudy for a house call, but Rudy concluded that Ally had some form of mental illness. He admitted there wasn't much he could do to help. That evening, in an effort to relieve Ally's stress, Winter drew her a colorful warm bath, hoping it would cheer her up. During the bath, Winter impulsively attempted to get intimate with Ally, but at the crucial moment, another alarm suddenly blared, followed by a power outage. A strange clown also entered Ozymandias' room, and the whole house was plunged into darkness, leaving everyone terrified. At that moment, their friendly neighbor Harrison showed up at the door with 2 large candles. He warned Ally not to wander around, suggesting this could be a terror attack, as 8 blocks in the area had lost power. Winter, seeing the situation, decided to leave. Ally couldn't stand the thought of being left alone in the house. Fearing she'd go insane, she sealed all the doors and windows and headed to the circuit box to check the power. That's when she discovered that someone had cut all their power lines. Before Ally could react, a clown suddenly appeared in front of her. In the blink of an eye, the clown disappeared, and then another one reappeared. Ally's mind was on the verge of collapse. She hurriedly opened a drawer and pulled out a gun for protection. She then went to Ozymandias' room, planning to flee the house, as it was no longer safe. But as soon as Ally opened the door, she saw a man standing in front of her. Without thinking, Ally raised her gun and shot, killing the man on the spot. Ally had accidentally killed him, and the guilt weighed heavily on her. Although the police ruled it a self-defense and said she wouldn't face charges, the guilt was overwhelming. The man's death had a severe impact on Ally and Ivy's restaurant. Protesters gathered outside, holding signs with Ally's face, demanding that she take responsibility. The incident even made it onto the local news, and Beverly's manipulative reporting turned Ally and Ivy into overnight sensations. Ivy said she would handle the situation, but Kai suddenly appeared. He told Ally that killing wasn't wrong. The ones causing trouble were the people gathering to riot. Seeing Ally's tearful face, Kai assured her that he would protect her, so she didn't need to worry. Ally felt a strange unease looking at Kai, even a deep sense of fear. Afterward, Ally went home, drank a glass of milk to calm herself down, and then heard a sudden knock at the door. Seeing it was Harrison and his wife, Ally opened the door, but she was met with accusations from them. Harrison was furious that Ally had used the gun he provided to kill someone. Faced with their accusations, Ally felt terrible, and the relationship between the two families grew even worse. That night, a strange noise was heard outside the mansion. Ally and Ivy looked through the window and saw a strange truck driving by, spraying a mysterious green gas. The next day, when Ivy looked outside again, she found Ally standing frozen, staring blankly. Ivy rushed to her side and saw the yard was covered with dead parrots, leaving them both bewildered. With the parrot corpses and the recent murder case from the news, Ally was convinced that she was being targeted by clowns or some other terrifying figures. Ivy had grown tired of Ally's paranoia and had started to resent her. Ally suspected that the truck might be driven by Harrison, so she called him to issue a warning not to act smug. But before Ally could say much, Meadow snatched the phone and started yelling at her. Then she abruptly hung up, leaving Ally stunned. How dare this woman hang up on her? At that moment, the truck appeared outside again, and Ally was convinced Harrison was driving it. She rushed outside and stood in front of the truck, but no matter how much she yelled, the truck didn't stop. Seeing it was about to run her over, Ally had to move out of the way to avoid being crushed. When Ivy arrived, she saw blood pouring from Ally's nose. Meanwhile, Meadow and Kai were having a private meeting in a room. They hooked pinkies and made a promise. Then Kai slapped Meadow hard, knocking her to the ground, but Meadow didn't blame him. Instead, she tried to please Kai. By this time, Ally had brought Ivy to Harrison's house. Furious that the truck had nearly killed her, she vowed not to let Harrison off the hook. When they arrived at the house, Ally immediately slapped Harrison before he could react and blamed him for everything that had happened. Ivy was exhausted from seeing Ally's crazed behavior. After making her threats, Ally stormed off, and on the way home, the couple began arguing again. Just then, Ozymandias noticed a clown face had been drawn on the wall of their house. He rushed inside to check and found their pet was missing. The three of them gathered around the oven. At that moment, the truck releasing green gas appeared again. Ally saw a figure and angrily chased after them, but the person ignored Ally's insults, and in a fit of rage, she yanked off their mask. To her horror, the figure had no face, only a clown mask. With her clown phobia, Ally immediately fainted from fear. The two people continued with their work as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Harrison and Kai hooked pinkies, seemingly making some secret deal. When Ally woke up, she urgently contacted Ivy and reported the incident to the police, but the officers dismissed it as Ally's imagination. After all, no one had ever seen the clowns. A strange noise came from next door, and they rushed over to check, only to find Ozymandias secretly watching a video. Ozymandias tried to hide it, but Ally and Ivy insisted on seeing it. Ozymandias reluctantly opened the video on his computer. Seeing the footage, Ivy was so furious that she stormed off, unable to accept Ally's betrayal. Despite Ally chasing after her to explain, all she received was a hard slap. The two argued all the way to the street, where they saw police swarming outside. Harrison was frantically shouting at Ally and Ivy, accusing them of being murderers, but the police restrained Harrison. Soon after, they realized Ozymandias had seen something. When they entered Harrison's home, they found the mansion covered in blood. A clown face suddenly appeared on the wall. Kai, whose IQ was now over 85, had always displayed extraordinary talent since childhood. Because of his gifts, his thoughts were different from others. He wanted to change the world, to ensure everyone was treated fairly. On that day, Kai gathered a few people, donned clown masks, and broke into a man's house. The man had no idea of the danger about to unfold and was quickly knocked to the ground. Terrified, the man didn't know what these figures were. In a desperate move, the man tried to reach for a knife nearby but was knocked down again. Seeing the clowns, the man began to scream in terror. After completing the mission, the clowns returned to their base, where a man was still hanging in midair, alive. When they removed their masks, the clowns revealed themselves to be Kai's people. Kai approached and, with one swift stab, ended the man's life. The man's death was witnessed by another victim they had just captured, who was now petrified. Under the attack of many clowns, that man soon died as well. Their deaths were quickly reported by Beverly. Shockingly, Beverly, the famous reporter, was also a member of the clown group. The next day, several people dressed as clowns were moving a coffin. They forcibly locked a couple inside and then painted clown graffiti on the walls. That night, Ally was home alone when she thought she heard a noise. She peeked outside and saw a man moving something in the distance. Ally quickly grabbed her binoculars and looked toward the man's house. Upon closer inspection, she realized the man was her neighbor, Harrison, but the binoculars didn't satisfy her curiosity. Ally hurriedly went to the pit Harrison had just dug and found Meadow lying inside. Meanwhile, a popular live streamer was doing an outdoor exploration stream when several masked clowns approached her with menacing steps. The clowns reached the streamer and, without hesitation, pulled out a knife and killed her with one swift stroke. Even the cameraman wasn't spared. After the murders, the clowns left, and all that remained of the lively scene was a teddy bear. Back at the clowns' hideout, they removed their masks. Kai personally designed a mask for Meadow, and she was very pleased with the design. At that moment, Beverly arrived. Deeply moved by Kai's decision to kill the streamer, Kai explained that everything he did was to recruit Beverly into the group, and with that, his followers grew. But Kai's ambitions were far greater. Meanwhile, at a local grocery store, the last customer had just left. Gary was preparing to close up, checking the shelves as usual. Suddenly, he noticed a woman in the distance. Without thinking much, he approached her and informed her that the store was closed. Upon closer look, he realized the woman was Winter. Just then, Ivy appeared from behind and shocked Gary with a taser. The two women dragged Gary to a basement, where he was tied up and terrified. Despite being restrained by two women, Gary was unable to fight back as he was tightly bound. After Winter taped Gary's mouth shut, the two women left the room. Winter returned to her room and noticed a bit of blood on her face. Kai, who was standing outside, seemed to have noticed something, and Winter confessed to what she had done. Kai quickly went to the basement where Gary was held. Gary, now furious, began hurling insults at Kai. Kai, enraged by Gary's disrespect, decided to punish him in the most terrifying way. Kai handed Gary a large knife and told him to cut his own arm. Summoning all his courage, Gary began to slice into his arm. Elsewhere, a woman had just washed her face when she felt an itch on her neck, followed by the appearance of several red spots. Ally panicked and flipped the mirror, and was instantly frightened. She sought help from her psychiatrist, Rudy, but Rudy was useless when it came to the strange events happening to Ally. He offered vague responses, leaving Ally feeling unsupported. That evening, Ally decided to engage in her favorite activity, spying on Harrison's daily life through her binoculars. But Harrison's behavior seemed strange, and Ally, determined to find out what was happening, sneaked into his backyard. There, in a pit, she found Meadow unconscious. Just then, a loud noise came from behind her, and realizing something was wrong, Ally ran back home. She barely made it inside and locked the door, but as she was about to call the police, she heard loud banging from downstairs. Seeing Meadow begging for help, Ally was too scared to open the door. Before Ally could react, Meadow was quickly wrapped in a burlap sack and taken away. Later, Harrison returned to the clowns' gathering place, where several other clown impersonators had assembled. Their leader, Kai, appeared and declared his dominance to the group. He instructed the clowns to show no mercy when dealing with their victims. Kai then introduced them to a new target, a man dressed in white, who was actually a member of their clown group. Kai believed the man had been too soft on a previous mission and was a liability. So, he gathered the group to punish the man. Kai demanded that everyone take part in this hunt. He handed a nail gun to Ivy, as her performance on the last hunt had also been lacking. This time, Ivy was to be the first to shoot her teammate. Under Kai's influence, Ivy got into character, raised the nail gun, and smiled as she fired the first shot at the man. As the man writhed in pain, Harrison took the nail gun and aimed carefully before firing another shot into the man's head. One by one, the others followed, each taking a turn shooting the man until he was completely dead. After the brutal execution, Kai pulled Beverly aside. The two engaged in a symbolic pinky promise ritual, and Beverly confided her fears to Kai. This time, Beverly took the lead. She asked Kai to share his own family story, and to gain his followers' trust. Kai recounted how he once had a happy family. Years ago, Kai's father became paralyzed in a car accident. Afterward, his father frequently abused his mother, both verbally and physically. One night, while Kai was playing video games, he heard a gunshot. When he rushed to his parents' room, he found his father had been shot but was still alive. His mother, crying, then took her own life with the gun. Kai's older brother, Big Shui, arrived soon after and moved their parents' bodies onto the bed, leaving them to decompose naturally. They couldn't afford to give their parents a proper burial because they needed their father's disability benefits and pension. Not long after, Winter returned home, and Kai opened the door to their parents' room, revealing their decaying corpses. They no longer felt pain in their hearts. Perhaps this is the impact of time. Meanwhile, Ally gathered her courage and snuck into Harrison's house again, where she found two men joyfully playing a game. She discreetly picked up a key from the ground and then went to the basement, where she found Meadow. As they were about to leave, Meadow grabbed a nearby bag, causing its contents to spill with a loud noise that drew the two men's attention. At the critical moment, Ally used pepper spray to subdue one of the men and took the opportunity to escape in her car. The two quickly reached Ally's hotel to hide from danger. Sensing the time was right, Meadow revealed everything about Kai's group and their clown killings. She confessed that she had once been a member of the clown cult, but after one mission, her mind became clear. When she tried to escape, she was caught and nearly buried alive by Kai and Harrison. She also revealed that the famous TV journalist was a member of the clown group, and the man behind her was Kai. Ally was stunned by what she heard. These audacious people not only committed murder but also brazenly spread lies. Meadow then told Ally about Kai's encounter with a rival. That rival was a woman named Sally, an intellectual with traditional political views. No one could predict her purpose for running, but her unique ideas quickly gained the support of some ordinary residents. Compared to Kai, Sally's approach was more respectable. After hearing about Kai, Ally began to believe Meadow's story. Fear was now gripping the town. Ally took Meadow to Dr. Rudy's house for help and then went to Sally's house to seek advice. After a brief introduction, Ally got to the point. She told Sally about Kai, but Sally looked at her as if she were crazy. Ally pressed on, and just as Sally was starting to believe her, a loud noise echoed, and several clowns burst into the bedroom. Ally knew they had come and quickly hid in the bathroom. Sally pulled out a gun, but the clown group had already surrounded her. Before Sally could react, one of the clowns grabbed her tightly. Kai slowly removed his mask, and Sally realized that Ally had been telling the truth. But it was too late. Kai used Sally's computer to write a perfect suicide note, and then posted a message from her account. Afterward, Kai took Sally's gun and shot her, killing her instantly. Ally, hearing the gunshot, was terrified, sensing danger approaching while hiding in the bathroom. Outside, a woman wearing a clown mask was searching each room for clues. At that moment, she heard crying from the next room. The clown opened the door and found Ally hiding there. Ally called out to Ivy, and hearing her name, Ivy decided to spare Ally. Afterward, Ally returned to Rudy's house but found that Meadow was already gone. She told Rudy about the clown group killing Sally, but Rudy believed it was all in her imagination. Ally had thought she saved a poor woman, not realizing she had fallen into another one of Kai's traps. The next day, Ally walked down an empty street and saw a lively party ahead. She also spotted the missing Meadow, but before she could approach, Meadow raised a gun and started shooting at the crowd, even hitting Kai. Ally rushed forward, trying to take the gun, but Meadow tearfully told her it was all for love and then shot herself. As soon as Meadow died, the police arrived. Seeing the gun in Ally's hands, they arrested her on the spot. Meanwhile, Kai, who had been shot, smiled on the stretcher. Everything was going according to his plan. Later that night, a mysterious elderly woman in black appeared before Beverly, introducing herself as BB. She claimed to know Beverly's inner thoughts and the truth behind Meadow's shooting. Before Beverly could react, BB left her with a contact address. Beverly wanted to confront Kai and uncover the truth about Meadow's death and Kai's intentions, but when she arrived at Kai's house, she found it filled with men, and Kai was now surrounded by male staff and bodyguards. Beverly felt that Kai was drifting further away from her, and Meadow's death made her realize Kai's selfishness, which violated his original rules. With this realization, Beverly turned and left, heading to BB's house that same night. In the darkness, it was hard to see Beverly clearly. Following BB's address, she arrived at a remote rental house. The two had a friendly conversation and established mutual trust. Beverly then brought BB to meet Ivy and Winter, where they detailed Kai's actions. BB explained that she once had a female partner named Valerie. At the age of 30, Valerie wrote the famous Scum Manifesto, spreading her teachings to other women harmed by men. Because of her deep hatred for men, she quickly gathered a loyal following. BB admired her and eventually became Valerie's partner. BB witnessed Valerie commit multiple murders targeting men, but the victims weren't just men. Some women were also killed. Valerie believed that women who were with men were guilty as well. She organized her loyal followers and, under the banner of feminism, began a killing spree. They murdered many couples. Although Valerie was eventually institutionalized, she continued to lead her followers by phone from the hospital. One day, a mysterious person sent letters to the media claiming responsibility for Valerie's murders. This mysterious individual went on to commit several more murders, even taking credit for Valerie's past killings. After Valerie was released from the institution, she resumed meetings with her loyal followers, but the media's focus was on the mysterious killer, who was both elusive and brutal, with photos suggesting the killer was a man. Frustrated, Valerie went to the police and confessed to the murders, but the authorities dismissed her as mentally ill and ignored her claims. Valerie soon lost her mind, and one by one, her loyal followers left her, including Bibi. Though many years had passed and Valerie was long dead, her feminist ideas still influenced many. After learning about Kai's situation, Bibi believed that now was the perfect time to act. She joined forces with Beverly, Ivy, and Winter, and under Bibi's guidance, they formed a feminist group. Their first target was Harrison, who had betrayed Meadow. As Harrison followed Ivy into the hall, a group of feminist women suddenly appeared. Bibi walked forward, chanting as Beverly, seizing the opportunity, slapped Harrison hard from behind. Harrison fell to the ground, and not long after, he woke up to find himself tied to a table. Ivy stood over him holding a chainsaw. Harrison, terrified, cried and begged the women for forgiveness, but it was too late. From the moment Meadow died, Harrison's fate was sealed. Ivy didn't want to hear any more of Harrison's excuses and swiftly killed him. The next day, Beverly, with great excitement, reported the event on camera in her role as a journalist. Meanwhile, Kai calmly watched the news at home. After turning off the TV, he said to the person next to him, "To unleash a woman's true nature, you must first make her angry." Hearing this, Bibi, who sat beside him, smiled. Later, Rudy came to Kai's base, shocked by what he saw as several men walked past him. Clearly, Rudy hadn't been aware of his brother's secret life. The two brothers hadn't seen each other in a while and naturally had a few drinks. During this time, Rudy recalled what Ally had once told him. He realized he had misunderstood her all along. Everything Ally had said about Kai was true. The terrifying figure she described was none other than his own brother. Not only that, but their sister Winter was deeply involved too. Kai even subtly blamed Rudy for being irresponsible. After all, both Ally and Meadow were Rudy's patients. Although Rudy tried to remain calm, internally he was filled with fear. He knew that his brother no longer trusted him, and he might be in danger. By now, Kai had complete control of the community and had established his own group of bodyguards. Beverly was organizing a rebellion, but Winter urged her and Ivy to reconsider. She believed that Kai was just temporarily lost, blinded by his recent success. Winter then went to Kai's side, and the two spent time online, posting provocative statements that garnered plenty of attention. People were furious, calling them keyboard warriors for their over-the-top attempts to grab attention. Soon after, they received a strange invitation in the mail. Curious, they drove to the mansion mentioned in the letter. There, they encountered a bizarre priest who continually muttered judgmental phrases, clearly a religious fanatic. Following the priest's guidance, they arrived at a sealed-off room. What had started as a game quickly escalated when it became clear that the priest was also one of them. Inside the room, a woman was tied up and had been subjected to severe humiliation. The priest, through a camera, allowed others to watch as the woman was further abused. Winter, unable to bear what was happening, moved to another room and discovered the priest's true extent of depravity. Kai, looking at the man, showed a moment of hesitation, realizing just how vile the priest truly was. The priest had offended both men and women alike. Then, in a shocking turn of events, Kai and Winter found that many people had been turned into statues by the priest, posed in various positions around the room. Taking advantage of the situation, Kai and Winter began to rescue the victims. They engaged in a battle of wits with the priest and eventually freed everyone, capturing the priest and killing him with the very torture device he had built. Kai's belief in fighting evil with evil made Winter think her brother was truly kind-hearted. Upon returning to their home, the siblings once again performed their pinky promise ritual. Winter expressed her hope that Kai would build a world where everyone could benefit, but Winter was too naive. Kai paid no attention to her plea and instead suggested a new idea, that she should become a mother and give birth to their savior. Winter was concerned that things between siblings wouldn't work out, but Kai reassured her that everything would be fine. He had already thought of a plan. He would have another man become intimate with Winter first, and then Kai would get intimate with the man at the same time. This way, Winter could become pregnant, and Kai could still be the father. Though Winter felt uneasy, she agreed to Kai's plan. This was the start of a twisted tale involving 2 men and 1 woman. The man was the girl's brother and also the cult leader. Today, he was set to become intimate with his sister, and to avoid any unexpected issues, he brought in another man as an intermediary. The plan was for the other man to become intimate with Winter first, while Kai would be close to the man from behind, ensuring Winter's pregnancy and making Kai the father. But at the last moment, Winter felt something was terribly wrong and stood up, trying to escape. The next day, as punishment, Winter was sent to work as a cleaner on the lawn. When a man brought her lunch, he mockingly called her a servant, pushing Winter to her breaking point. She had originally tried to convince Kara to join the rebellion, but to her surprise, Kara was fiercely loyal to Kai, even locking the car doors to force Winter into playing his game. In the struggle, Winter pulled out a gun and shot him. Meanwhile, Ally invited Kai to her house and revealed Rudy's thoughts to him, using this information as a bargaining chip to join the group. Cut to a dark basement, where members of the clown cult put on masks and dragged in a man and a woman. Looking closely, the 2 victims were Rudy and Beverly. Kai removed his mask, revealing his strikingly handsome face. Furious at his brother for not supporting him, Kai, in a fit of rage, broke Rudy's fingers and then killed him with a knife. Beverly, Kai's most trusted subordinate, had also betrayed him, and this hit Kai the hardest. Hearing Beverly's excuses, Kai ultimately decided to spare her life, planning to torment her slowly in the future. The next day, Kai boasted to his loyal followers about 2 cults, Heaven's Gate and the People's Temple. Kai's brainwashing abilities were so strong that just a simple pinky promise ritual was enough to brainwash a boy. Outside, the boy's mother was frantic, storming into the room in a rage. First, she slapped Winter, then rushed to the basement, where she found Ozymandias participating in the ritual with Kai. Ally tried to stop it, but Ozymandias resisted, even calling Kai dad right in front of Ally. By now, the basement was completely surrounded by Kai's bodyguards. Seeing how quickly her son had come to trust Kai, Ally was once again shocked by Kai's brainwashing powers. Kai explained that claiming Ozymandias as his son wasn't baseless. He revealed that for years, he had been donating sperm to a fertility clinic. He had accessed Ally's fertility records and had been following his children closely, with Ozymandias being the most special among them. Ally was stunned but had no choice but to leave Ozymandias there for the time being. She didn't believe Kai's lies. After leaving Kai's mansion, Ally and Ivy hurried home. They poured themselves a glass of wine to calm their nerves. It was only after Ivy ate the food in front of her that Ally admitted to poisoning it. Ivy laughed it off, not believing Ally would actually kill her. But moments later, Ivy was overwhelmed by dizziness and began vomiting blood, collapsing dead on the floor. The next day, Ally went to the fertility clinic to investigate. After paying some money, she obtained information about the child's real father. Seeing that the father wasn't Kai, Ally knew what she had to do. Later, Ally invited Kai to her house for a friendly candlelit dinner. Kai devoured Ally's food with such enthusiasm that he was nearly brought to tears. Ally then produced a fake document, telling Kai she had done some research at the fertility clinic and confirmed that Ozymandias really was his son. Together, they examined Ozymandias' birth records, and Kai was completely fooled by Ally. This was because Kai preferred older men, not young women like Ally. Finally, Kai and Ally moved Ivy's body to the bed. Then Kai took Ally to reunite with Ozymandias at his house. While being embraced by Kai, Ally felt a whirlwind of emotions inside. Winter and her friends were all fans of the female candidate, and the 3 of them idolized feminist ideas. They bragged about it while intentionally belittling men. Hearing this while playing video games nearby, Kai was enraged. He ended up getting into a confrontation with one of Winter's friends. In the heat of the argument, Kai lost control and slapped the woman so hard she nearly fell over. The next day, Bibi approached Kai. She was a righteous educator and a successor of feminist ideals. She patiently taught Kai not to be so violent, advising him to remain calm and avoid hitting people. News of Kai's violence also upset other townspeople, and a group of protesters gathered to demonstrate. Kai didn't care, as he had his security team to protect him from harm. During the riot, things escalated, and someone sprayed a strange liquid on Kai's face in full view of everyone. One of his men quickly pulled out an antidote and applied it to Kai's face, preventing any serious injury. That night, footage of Kai being sprayed was broadcast, and the humiliation completely enraged him. In a fit of anger, Kai gathered his loyal followers and told them a story about a famous killer. Like Kai, Charles Manson had a group of devoted followers due to his extreme behavior. Many years ago, Charles and his 3 female followers set out to punish those they didn't like, but within their group, There was a traitor who realized the horror of their actions and wanted to escape. During one of their killings, the traitor betrayed Charles. This led Kai to believe that women were often troublemakers, and if there were ever a traitor in his group, it would most likely be a woman. Kai then gathered his loyal followers and made a jaw-dropping decision. He vowed to kill 1,000 people and move into the White House. Gary, one of Kai's earliest followers, was ecstatic upon hearing this plan and eagerly led a group to carry it out. They targeted an abortion clinic, intending to harm some women, but when they entered the building, they realized it was a trap, and a group of clowns soon surrounded Gary. The clown leader slowly appeared, sighed, and then removed his mask. Gary knew his time had come but was happy to give his life for Kai. After giving Gary a farewell kiss, the clowns descended on him and killed him. The next day, a woman stepped out of her car and headed toward the hospital. As she looked up, she saw Gary's corpse displayed at the hospital entrance, along with an insulting sign. Beverly covered the story in a special report, and Kai used the news to blame Gary's death on their opposition. Beverly, after everything she had been through, was now deeply afraid of Kai and had no choice but to let him deceive people. Even when Kai slapped her, she silently endured it. Beverly told Winter about what had happened. Winter, being Kai's sister, felt sorry for what her brother had done and gave Beverly a train ticket, urging her to leave the country. But Beverly, seeing the ticket, thought Winter was testing her loyalty. She refused to leave and decided not to rebel against Kai. At the same time, Kai's emotions were becoming harder to control, and he even began experiencing auditory and visual hallucinations. He saw Rudy, covered in blood, lying on the bed. Seeing Rudy, whom he had killed, Kai's mental state was on the verge of collapse. At that moment, another version of himself appeared after confronting the hallucination of Rudy's death. This other self told him that Ally was definitely not a traitor, but the paranoid Kai felt there had to be a traitor around him. So, he installed listening devices throughout the house, and soon he overheard Ally's voice in the next room. Afraid that his hallucination would be discovered, Kai rushed to Ally's room. Ally said she had found a bug and believed it was secretly placed there by Winter. Before they could react, there was a sudden knock at the door. Bibi had come for a late-night visit. Kai took her to the basement, and Bibi slapped him across the face. Bibi told Kai that his behavior was intolerable, and he had even hurt someone as brilliant as Beverly. Kai tried to defend himself, but Bibi slapped him again and pulled out a gun. Just as Bibi was about to shoot, Ally appeared behind her and killed Bibi with a single shot. Kai was terrified, collapsing onto the couch, completely paralyzed with fear. Later, Winter used her skills to shave Kai's head. As she did, Kai pulled out the train ticket Winter had given Beverly, along with the bug Ally had found. Winter realized she had been framed by Ally, but her brother, now completely paranoid, would not tolerate any traitors. In a fit of rage, Kai grabbed Winter by the waist. In just a few seconds, Winter was dead. Having killed his own sister, Kai felt deep despair, but he quickly composed himself. The real traitor had already escaped by then. The traitor smashed the recorder he had been carrying, but just then, Ally appeared by his side. It turned out that the traitor wasn't a woman, but one of the men Kai trusted most. 1 year earlier, Kai had been in a maximum security prison, but for someone as skilled in brainwashing as Kai, he could thrive in any environment. Even the prison warden was captivated by Kai's influence. Soon, Kai had established his own faction in the prison, gathering a group of loyal followers. However, prison gangs were common, and Kai's group was just one among many. Kai's actions eventually angered many of the prison's leaders. He was taken to the bathroom, where one slap knocked him to the ground. Kai got back up and insulted the gang leader, headbutting him several times, but Kai was no match for the leader and was quickly subdued. Then, something unexpected happened. A follower stabbed the gang leader from behind, killing him. This was Kai's strength. He excelled at planting informants within different groups and manipulating people's minds. Before long, Kai became the leader of the entire prison. New inmates had to perform the pinky promise ritual with him. Even with such power in prison, Kai remained filled with anger. He believed that a woman, a snitch, had betrayed him and caused his downfall. 1 year earlier, Kai had been plotting a mass killing with his loyal followers. All the participants were men, with only 2 women remaining in the group, Ally and Beverly. One was deceitful, and the other was incompetent but enjoyed playing games. After learning of Kai's brutal plan from Ally, Beverly couldn't take it anymore. She begged Ally to kill her to end her suffering. Ally refused and told Beverly to wait for the beautiful new world that was coming. At that moment, Kai and his followers were armed and ready to go on a killing spree. But to their surprise, Ally had already contacted the police, who were planning to raid Kai's secret hideout. When the police broke down the door, Kai spat in disbelief. Kai and his followers fought desperately but to no avail. Overwhelmed by the police's superior force, Kai was eventually captured. As Beverly watched the scene unfold, she smiled, finally relieved. As Kai was loaded into the police car, he saw Ally, the woman who had betrayed him, and let out a powerless roar. It turned out that the police had approached Ally long ago, recruiting her to infiltrate Kai's group and dismantle it from within. Ally had succeeded, and Kai was brought to justice, finally ending the reign of terror his cult had spread across the town. Ally's heroic deeds became a lasting legacy in the country. Seeing the woman who betrayed him, Kai vowed to seek revenge one day. In prison, with the help of the female warden, they found an inmate who resembled Kai. The prisoner would pretend to be Kai and die in his place. Kai planned to use his fake death to escape from prison. The warden, using her position, provided Kai with a set of prison guard clothes. Dressed as a guard and accompanied by the warden, Kai casually walked out of prison. Neither Ally nor Beverly knew that Kai had escaped, but Ally understood that she couldn't run away from the fear Kai had created. So, Ally decided to step into the public eye. Using her knowledge of human psychology, she attracted a large group of loyal followers. Ally's speeches were met with thunderous applause, but then a familiar voice was heard in the crowd. Kai, standing not far away, removed his hat, revealing himself. His appearance sent a wave of terror through the audience. Kai grabbed a gun and aimed it at Ally, ready to end her life. But the gun was empty. It turned out that Ally had already brainwashed the warden. She had planted the warden in Kai's inner circle. Kai couldn't accept this reality and let out a gut-wrenching scream. Before he could react, Beverly shot him dead. Ally went on to successfully win her election as senator. And that night, she happily tucked Ozymandias into bed. Ozymandias asked if his mother was still in control of others. Ally smiled and explained that senators serve the people, not control them. She then handed Ozymandias the very clown doll she once feared the most, to keep him company as he fell asleep.